Thank you, Presiding Officer. This is a debate that is founded upon principle. In the paper that we're speaking to today, on page 17, we capture some of the principle. Our approach to international development is one of working in partnerships of equals with others, both within Scotland, in our partner countries. And I think that goes to a very important point. This is not about what we do to people, it is what we do with people. Because if the people with whom we are working are not with us, then we're going to achieve nothing of long-term benefit. Looking at the underpinnings of the whole issue, Ban Ki-moon and Ross Thompson referred to the United Nations, said, saving our planet, lifting people out of poverty, advancing economic growth, these are one and the same fight. And at the moment, of course, our eyes will be looking at what may happen in the United States. Currently, one of the biggest contributors in this particular area, and one where we perhaps may doubt the future commitment. So looking to John F. Kennedy's inaugural address in 1961, to those people in the huts and villages of half the globe, struggling to break the bonds of mass misery, we pledge our best efforts to help them to help themselves. I wonder if we'll hear that in the next few days in the United States. Perhaps Theodore Roosevelt, in his speech in Washington in 1906, got to the heart of where the United States now seems to have got. He said, "The liar is no whit better than the thief. An epidemic of indiscriminate assault upon character does not good, but does very great harm." Let's hope that the events of the election in the United States can be put behind us, and that the Republicans can return to their founder, Abraham Lincoln, who at Gettysburg said, all men are created equal. He meant, of course, women as well. The times have changed. The faiths that underpin the moral codes of communities across the world also speak to this. And Isaiah chapter 58:6 says, to undo the heavy burdens and let the oppressed go free, and that you break every yoke. So it is all pervasive in the thinking of the human race. And like others, I quote from Jack McConnell. I give Jack McConnell great regard for two things that he did in his time in office. First of all, on smoking, but this is the other one, where he said on the 1st of June 2005, if we are not part of the solution in Africa, we exacerbate the problem. And Jack McConnell was absolutely correct in that regard. It's worth saying that the last year has been a tough one for international relationship. We've seen intolerance become almost normalised in too many parts of the world, and perhaps the hope that we might look to a better future for all the peoples of the world has all but vanished. In the Winston Future King, written by T.H. White, he ends his story of hope at the point of his own death. But before he passes, he imparts a vision to a young boy. The last line of that book reads, "The beginning." So let us hope that what has happened in the last year in particular, in the face of defeat, that we are actually now looking at a new beginning. And in doing that, we can work with our partners, sharing a vision. In a world that's riven by intolerance and disregard, it is much more important than ever that we address building bridges with those who we can work with to improve their conditions, and to give our young people very often the opportunity to learn from those who are less well off than themselves, that there are different ways of addressing the world's problem. Ban Ki-moon has been quoted by myself already, and I think is an excellent place to start. And of course, the vision must simply reflect that. We must tackle each part of the issue with our partners. Climate change is one I've spoken about before, and in particular climate justice. Mary Robinson, the former President of Ireland, now runs a foundation that addresses that issue and works very largely with women, many of them in Africa. We've heard of children going out to collect muddy water for their family before going to school. We know that women have to travel further and further as climate change aridifies the area in which they live to get wood for their fires. We here, of course, in benefiting from an industrial past, are part of the reason that these burdens are being placed on people in less developed countries. That is why it's important that we stick to the knitting on climate change, while also working with the individuals most affected by it, whose problems we have very largely in that respect created. Working to end global poverty reinforces our own commitment to defeating it here in our own country. Shows that our actions are not simply limited, we're not selective. No human being anywhere should suffer the pain of poverty. The diversity of peoples, the diversity of approaches strengthen the outcomes that we're likely to get. Diversity is intrinsically of value. I've before quoted the first law of epigenetics, that the more highly optimized an organism is for one environment, the more adversely affected it is by change in that environment. And that gives us the scientific underpinnings as to why diversity means you have more resilient societies, more resilient ecosystems. International development is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to create a certain unity of purpose across national boundaries. The greatest problems of our time will not be defeated by the actions of a single nation, but by the collaboration of all nations. Partnerships give us that collective power. This paper the Scottish Government has brought forward is a very encouraging part of developing a global response, but we are but a small part. But let's hope that we are an exemplar that encourages others to greater efforts in future.